The king has arrived. The floodgates for crypto ETFs have officially opened. The SEC just approved generic listing standards, meaning that spot crypto ETFs no longer need case-by-case approval as long as they meet criteria. We're going to be talking about the digital assets that may already meet that criteria with you today. XRP's first ETF launched in the United States today, smashing all sorts of records. Grayscale's multi-asset fund was approved. Franklin Templeton's $72 billion tokenized money market is scaling, and they just announced a relationship with Ripple. Hedera is launching Heat for enterprise adoption and utilization of the Hedera hash graph. And NVIDIA and Intel are fusing with Hedera for trusted AI. This week is getting interesting. This video is one that you cannot miss. What is up, everybody? Solomon here. Super excited to be with you all today. Before I get started, I would appreciate if you guys like this video, shared this video, and subscribe to this channel. This amount of compilation of work does take time, and I hope you find value in it. Today, we're unpacking one of the biggest weeks in crypto history. I feel like I'm saying this pretty often now. Every week is a huge week for crypto history. SEC approving generic listing standards, which we're going to be diving into here first. The ETF fast track crypto has been waiting for. XRPR, the first ever United States XRP ETF, launches and smashes records. Grayscale's multi-asset ETF plus Bitcoin index options get the green light. Galaxy Research identifies which altcoins qualify for an ETF next. Franklin Templeton, blah, 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 blah. Let's just dive in. Segment 1. The SEC's generic listing standards. This is a game changer for crypto. On September 17th, 2025, as we can see here, the SEC approved generic listing standards for commodity-based trust shares. This allows for spot commodity ETFs, including crypto ETFs, to be listed automatically if they meet standardized criteria. No more case-by-case SEC approval bottlenecks. The SEC chair, Paul Atkins, quotes, "This maximizes investor choice and fosters innovation." Now, for context here, this is the same shift that unleashed thousands of equity ETFs after Rule 6C Tech 11 in 2019. Crypto ETFs are now at that same inflection point. This is certainly not Gary Gensler's SEC anymore. All right, according to Galaxy Digital, and I again want to give a shout out to Tata from the HBAR community for flagging this one down. Only 12 of the top 100 tokens in all of crypto currently qualify for the SEC's new fast track ETF approval framework. That's HBAR, XRP, Doge, Litecoin, Link, AVAX, DOT, Solana, and ADA. These are the most likely candidates for ETF launches. This looks like this is coming off of the heels of this Galaxy Digital research paper. Soon to qualify, ADA and XRP as their future seasoning periods end this fall. Now, outstanding ETF applications. 9 of the tokens that I had mentioned already have filings. So HBAR, Link, Solana, DOT, ADA, and XRP ETFs seemingly are a matter of when and not if at this point. We know that the XRP one just launched today that we're going to tackle here in a second. This is the ETF floodgate moment. And, this is just one of many financial products that we're going to continue to see launched for crypto. It's not just about Bitcoin. It's not just about Ethereum. It's never been just about Bitcoin and Ethereum at this point in time. And it's going to get really, really interesting to watch how all of this stuff starts to shake out. You can check out the Galaxy Digital research paper here as well. But ETF fast track rule, proposed criteria and qualifying tokens, as you can see right here. All right. I want to go over this because this is gigantic, and I'm going to give a huge shout out to the Genfinity team for putting together all of this content. Go to genfinity.io, and there's more content than I can even cover in one video on our site. So today, XRPR launched. This is XRP's first United States ETF. Within 90 minutes of this launching, $24 million in trading volume. I know it's much higher than that at this point in time. That's 5x the debut of any XRP futures ETF. This is a hybrid 1940 Act fund, direct XRP plus XRP backed exchange traded products. It seems like investors certainly want regulated XRP exposure given the response to today's launch. And Wall Street just delivered. So this is pretty major. This is coming out of the combination of Rex and Osprey. This is the Rex Osprey XRP ETF. And yeah, pretty amazing performance here. And again, not to kind of single in on any one thing here, but I think that the XRP community has been waiting on this for a while, just as other crypto communities have been waiting on their digital assets to get kind of across the line here. All right, I also want to tackle, this is also equally kind of huge here, Grayscale's multi-asset ETF. And let me pull this one up here. All right, this is Grayscale's multi-asset ETF. And this got approved. The SEC approved their digital large cap fund on NYSE ARCA. This is 80% Bitcoin, but also has Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, ADA at $755 million assets under management. Their digital large cap fund is now the largest multi-token ETF in the entire world. Also approved are options on Cboe's Bitcoin ETF indexes. This gives Wall Street pro-level crypto hedging tools. I mean, bottom line here, guys, is that crypto ETFs aren't just these kind of niche things anymore. They're becoming part of the financial mainstream. We're going to see many, many more of these. And this is kind of on the heels of the SEC general kind of guidelines that were pushed out yesterday as well, and pretty massive for the digital assets that may already meet criteria. All right, now we're going to get into Franklin Templeton here. Before I do that, I did want to mention, please go and check out genfinity.io. You can see here, I'm not going to get to all of these articles today. This is just in the past day. We talked about the XRP. We talked about Wormhole, something I'm not going to get to. Fed's first rate cut was yesterday. PayPal extending crypto services, which I think I did tackle in a prior video. But I want to get into this next. This is big. This is Ripple, DBS, and Franklin Templeton. As we know, Franklin Templeton is a monster. Tons of assets under management. DBS is giant as well. But $72 billion tokenization by the numbers. Franklin Templeton's Jenny Johnson dropped major numbers. I think that this is, this comes from this document that I found here. I think this is like an earnings call. And this is their W2 2025 earnings call. This is President and CEO Jenny Johnson comments. $72 billion in cash management assets under management at Franklin Templeton, $2.7 billion in inflows in each of the last 2 quarters. Now, what's interesting here is they tie in some of the stuff that Ripple was just announced with today as well. So here's the announcement today. And you can see Franklin Templeton Global announces partnership with DBS Bank and Ripple to deliver tokenized trading and lending solutions via the Benji Technology Platform. Now, as I like to do here, try to find out what I can about this Benji platform. And I guess I'll give you guys some context. Benji deals also in tokenized money market funds, paying intraday yield. If you hold it for 4 hours, you earn 4 hours of yield. That's very interesting to me because something we've talked about for many years on this channel is kind of this back to the future that happens with crypto, where you have these really innovative use cases that seem like they're too early for their time. And then, a handful of years later, we see them resurging again, one of which is micropayments. And, think about, what was it, Coil back in the day with people using the platform Coil, which was like a Ripple platform for micropayments. And there's been tons of other micropayments use cases. The first open beta testing of the Hedera network was actually a micropayments platform called the Daily Timestamp. You read articles and you got streamlined HBAR. It was back in 2019, I think. They did it for like 3 weeks. Anyways, what they're talking about here is like micropayments for investors, like to earn yield almost by the second, like instantaneous. How crazy is that? That's kind of what they're already dealing with Franklin Templeton. And I'm of the opinion that, a decade, 2 decades from now, we're not just going to have to wait every 2 weeks for a paycheck. You're literally going to have your paycheck streamed to your digital wallet on a by second basis. I fervently believe that that's going to happen. But anyways, major numbers. This is from Franklin Templeton's Jenny Johnson here. Tokenized money market fund, as I mentioned, paying intraday yield. If you hold it for 4 hours, you earn 4 hours of yield. It runs across 8 blockchains with a patented wallet or a patent pending wallet. Manages reserves for Circle's USDC and the first U.S. state-issued stablecoin. Sounds a lot like they're talking about Wyoming, which we just mentioned here, which sounds a lot like, I think there was 8 blockchains tied in with Wyoming as well, and that first state issuance. I might be incorrect. I'm just trying to maybe relay the numbers running off the cuff here, but you guys double check that one for the state of Wyoming's stablecoin and these 8 blockchains that Franklin Templeton's talking about. I wonder if there's overlay there. Manages reserves for Circle, as I mentioned, and first U.S. state-issued stablecoin. Johnson's saying tokenization will fundamentally change the rails of the financial system. You have Franklin Templeton, CEO, I believe CEO, president and CEO. Yep, president and CEO saying that tokenization is going to fundamentally change the rails of the financial system. Guys, this is one of the biggest financial entities on the planet telling you this. The CEO telling you what's happening. I don't know how much more clear cut and dry we can get. Franklin Templeton is not experimenting. They're building the infrastructure for tokenized finance at scale. Now, Ripple, DBS, and FTI Global. They're launching tokenized trading and lending on this Benji Tech platform. We already covered Franklin Templeton, but it's worth repeating that they operate tokenized money markets with about $72 billion in assets under management here. I'll go back to this so it's a little bit more pleasant on the eyes. Enterprises are not testing anymore. They're shipping production solutions. This is a key trend that we're seeing across the board, which leads me to bring in the heat introduction to the Hedera Enterprise Adoption Team. Killer name, by the way. Saw this today, and I wanted to give a shout out, number one, to Rob Allen, who is absolutely a monster in the Hedera ecosystem. I know he's taking on a couple of different roles within this now, but Rob is a longstanding member of the Hedera community, served on the Hedera Council as representative from Australian Payments Plus, chaired the utilization committee, et cetera, et cetera. And, if you guys don't know what Australian Payments Plus is, it's a convergence, I think, of 3 entities in Australia. One, I think, is NPP, one is FTPOS, and I always forget the third one. But FTPOS is essentially the ACH system in Australia and New Zealand. But Rob is basically going to be representing and helping these Hedera council members to move from proof of concepts, some of which we haven't even seen what some of these entities within Hedera are doing. And if you guys aren't aware of the governing council of Hedera, for those that might not be, I'm sure all of you are, but I want to pull this up real quick. It will be nice to hopefully get some insight into what maybe some of these entities are doing. I mean, I would love to know what is going on at Dell, what is going on at DLA Piper, Google, Shinhan Bank, and Standard Bank, some of the biggest banking entities in the world, Africa and Asia. So yeah, you kind of get the picture here. So I even Ubisoft. I mean, it'd be really cool to know what Ubisoft's doing. Hitachi, you get the picture. Anyways, I'm hoping that we see some use cases moving from proof of concepts to enterprise scale deployments. Rob is also going to be representing Hedera at Cboe, which is Swift's flagship payments conference. So shout out to Rob Allen for this HEAT initiative. Why HEAT? Why now? You can see here that the industry is maturing. Regulations are advancing. The opportunity for enterprise scale adoption has never been clearer. From day one, Hedera's institutional governance model, the first of its kind in public distributed ledger technology network, set the standard for trust, stability, and innovation. HEAT is designed to help council members transition from ideation and proof of concepts to production solutions. Projects will be structured for rapid delivery, with a focus on executive level engagement, on-site use case workshops, AI-driven rapid prototyping, and production delivery portfolio management. Rob, if you're listening to this and watching this and you want any of these enterprises interviewed as they're going through this process in a structured way, I will raise my hand 10 times out of 10. I would love that opportunity. And I want to close with this because I saw this today. This is NVIDIA and Intel to develop AI infrastructure and personal computing products. Intel to design and manufacture custom data center and client computer processing units with NVIDIA NVLink. NVIDIA to invest $5 billion in Intel common stock. I don't want to make too much out of this, but I am going to present the relationships here that have kind of gone back, and this does tie in Hedera. So take it with a grain of salt because this is obviously speculative. This is personal, just kind of tying stuff together. There may not be anything too tied together, but you can kind of do your own due diligence and make your decision there. All right. In 2024, Equity Lab, Intel, and NVIDIA unveiled verifiable compute, which is built and leverages Hedera consensus service to anchor artificial intelligence trust in hardware. Now, this is directly tying in the trail of every operation performed on compatible Intel computer processing units and NVIDIA graphic processing units. The integration provides several key benefits. You can go and read through this. There's another press release out there, and I don't think it's in this one, that talks about where this is embedded kind of at as a standard. And I think it's in Blackwell units and then a couple of other units, but you guys can go and find that because that wasn't pulled up on this one. Now, so I talked about in 2024, Equity Lab, Intel, NVIDIA unveiling verifiable compute using Hedera consensus service to anchor AI trust in hardware. Now we have about a year later, September 18th, 2025, and we have Intel to announce a $5 billion partnership to build custom CPUs for NVIDIA AI data centers. New x86 SoCs with RTX GPU chiplets for personal computers. NVIDIA investing $5 billion in Intel stock. Combining this with Hedera's role in anchoring artificial intelligence computational trust, we're watching AI kind of merge with blockchain convergence, or could be at like the silicon level. And again, take that with a grain of salt. I'm just presenting the relationships that have been going on for a little over a year now. So you've got hardware, tokenization, and decentralized trust colliding to build potentially the next era of digital infrastructure. And I didn't even mention the Accenture tie-in here, as some of you guys may have probably noticed in a previous video. Accenture deeply embedded into the Equity Lab stuff as well. Massive week, just like last week was, though, guys. I mean, I think this SEC approving generic listing standards for commodity-based trust shares, aka, which also falls under the purview of kind of crypto on some of these spot ETFs, not needing approval on a case-by-case basis, but just needing to meet criteria. Finally, we're starting to see kind of some of the traction we've been waiting for. Enterprises are also moving from pilots to production. I think this is a key theme. I think 3 months ago, I did a European Central Bank or European Banking Committee. It was either European Central Bank or the UK. One of the deputy governors somewhere, at one of these big conglomerate banks, was basically like, it's time to move out of the proof of concept phase and into the operationalization phase. And that is what we are seeing. That is the theme now, is stuff is just starting to go live. I don't expect that theme to stop because that is just the natural progression of this technology. Stuff's just going to go live. It'll be interesting to watch. There's tons of NDAs across all these ecosystems. I'm sure it'll be interesting to watch when some of this stuff gets announced. And I think we're seeing it in real time. ETF floodgates are open. Altcoin ETFs are inevitable. The biggest players in artificial intelligence and hardware are fusing with blockchain to secure the future as well. What do you think is next? Which ETF is going to come next? Do you think we're going to see HBAR, Algorand, Link, XTC? I mean, some of the ones even that maybe not in that list. What do you think? Will Franklin Templeton, what are they going to be doing with Ripple? Is it going to tie in XRP at all? Is it just going to be Ripple USD, the stable coin? I don't know, guys. This is pretty just wild. Every day it's like, I don't feel like doing a video today. And then like we just get crazy news where I almost like I'm forced to do one. Drop your thoughts in the comments. So I really do appreciate the likes and subscribes to these videos. And then if you guys also want to check out, we do tons of podcasts. I will say, I'm going to mention this again before I leave here. We've got a really good podcast coming out. This is not a sponsored podcast. This is going to be directly about XRP, and pay attention to at Genfinity.io for that. And check out Genfinity.io for all the content we're writing as well. But yeah, from all these announcements across the board, one thing is clear: we are in a different era of crypto adoption. That's not to say that the bull market's going to last forever. That's not to say that the bear market's going to come tomorrow. That's just to say that this technology is being adopted 1000%. And it is interesting just to be along for the ride. I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and stay blessed. Bye.